The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to another episode of the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Greigg, and as always, I am joined by my amazing co-host, Jacqueline Smith. Today, we are diving into one of my favorite and, Jacqueline, frankly, one of my least favorite topics because we're talking about habit stacking.
Yeah, we are.
And the bad, and how we might be able to increase those things that we need to do in our life, and maybe just remove some of the things that no longer serve us, but are in the way, in our life, in my cupboard, in my cabinet. Dang it, Jacqueline. And I just got to confess. I got to confess, dang it, because the holidays were tough, nutrition wise. I did really, really well, dang it. And I'm always trying to check that nutrition box. And like I talked about on the last episode, look, if I'm going to have a donut, I'm going to have the donut, but I'm going to earn that donut. And the problem was, Jacqueline, is this over the holidays, there was all these dang cookies left over. And the types of cookies that were in boxes, so they were contained, they didn't go stale.
Mm-hmm.
And the other night, I just, I worked all day and I ate my healthy food. And then I opened the cabinet and this box of cookies was just staring me in the face. And I thought, I can just have one. And like 9 Oreos later, Jacqueline, I was like, why are these even in my freaking cabinet? So today we're talking about eliminating things that we don't want in our life, but also on the good side of things, finding how we can stack our habits, finding how we can have the good things in our life in the way of the things that we're already doing. Right, Jacqueline?
Absolutely. That's a lot of Oreos.
Well, they were the mint ones. They were like the peppermint ones with the little candy canes in there. And I hadn't eaten any. And then I thought, I'll just, it's like Pringles, right? Like you think you can, once you pop, you can't stop. And
yeah, you can't.
I mean, those things were good. So yeah, I ate about 9 of them and then I threw the box away.
Oh my God. Well, at least you threw it away. I did the same thing on New Year's Day because my husband and I were starting 75 Hard. I literally had to go through like our whole pantry, freezer, and fridge and everything. And I got rid of everything that I didn't want to have in the house. I have one little section in my freezer where I put some things that I didn't want to toss, but I don't want to look at them every day. And like have them in there for later. But I mean, that's just setting yourself up for success. If you make sure that if you're not going to eat something, don't rely on willpower, right? Like I don't have any of that.
Yeah, that's right. And you mentioned maybe a step 2 of that. Like you don't necessarily have to go just off the deep end and throw things away. But for me, I open the cabinet, these things are right at eye level. Maybe I wouldn't have done that if they were put away. And if I really wanted to eat a cookie, I'd have to go find them. So keeping the stuff that we don't want to eat as much of in a place that's put away could be a start, right? But just frankly, not keeping the stuff in the house was what I learned from that. I don't have the willpower either. Most days I do. But what I found about myself is I just, if my willpower is low, and it's right there in my line of sight or in my vision, I might eat those cookies more than I should be.
Yeah. So this episode is not about cookies, everyone. We want to talk about habit stacking, but that's just kind of one of them, right? It's like eliminate the things that you don't want to do as much as you can. And then how can we add in and position things and stack them with other habits so that we do more of the things we want and less of the things that we don't want. One of my most favorite books is around habits, right? High Performance Habits is one of them. I love that book. But then Atomic Habits gets really into the nitty gritty of building habits and like the psychology and everything behind it. And he talks about habit stacking. And so one of the ways, as you're looking to implement more of the 15 points and really integrate them into your life so it doesn't feel like another to-do list, looking for ways to stack them in is really, really important. So, for example, I'll share my morning routine. I get up, I have my coffee, but I go sit in the same spot on my couch with my coffee, and on the table next to me, right the same table I put the coffee on, is my journal and a pen
Yeah.
and a pair of reading glasses because I don't know, I'm getting more blind the older I get. So I have all that there. Now, if I don't have a pen there, you know, I don't want to get up again. I'm going to
Right.
just like open my phone and probably start scrolling, you know. So I have everything I need there to do my morning routine, which is I write out my goals. I write out my gratitude, right? And I write out my affirmations, and I have a whole process that I go through. So I get like 3 or 4 habits just sitting on my couch
That's
before I
right.
even get up again, you know? And so what are some of the things that you have stacked into your routines?
It's interesting, Jacqueline. My morning is very similar to yours, where, I mean, let's be real. We love coffee, and that's not a bad thing. I drink a cup or two of coffee a day. So, what I do is my coffee sits right under my supplements. I have to literally like go around my supplements to reach the coffee. So, that's just my reminder, hey, grab
Yeah.
those. I like a little bit of cream in my coffee. In my refrigerator sits one of my favorite supplements that I've talked about before, my sea moss. Shout out to my buddy Johnny Ray. Sea moss is this incredible algae. It's got like 90 of the 110 essential vitamins and micronutrients that your body needs, but it's super easy to forget. So that's right by some coconut water and the creamer for my coffee. So when I grab the creamer for my coffee, the sea moss sits right there. I drink some coconut water to hydrate with that. The lemon sits right there also. So all that morning concoction really can't be missed because it's right near the thing that I'm going to go for first, which is the coffee. And then same thing, Jacqueline, I go into my meditation room and I sit down and I've got my journal right there. I've got my pen right there. Everything is within arm's reach so that
Mhm.
I can very easily at 5 something in the morning just crank through those things. Crank's not the right word, but get through those things that make me feel the most whole first thing in the morning.
You know what I'm just thinking about? It's just like side topic. I feel like I'm like 1.0 and you're 2.0. I'm like, I get my coffee, I go sit down. I definitely have creamer in my coffee, everyone. And then I go sit down on my couch. I do my lazy routine, and then he's got all like the concoction and the lemon water, the coconut water, the sea moss, and then his meditation room. It's
Yeah,
just
but
funny.
yeah,
Sorry,
I
I'm
mean, sure, and give yourself some credit because you're doing the right things and the right things for
yeah.
you, and you're also doing this freaking 75 hard. I'm doing 75 soft. Like we
Mhm.
both are doing our thing here.
Yeah, no.
And there's no right or wrong way. I think that's something we've talked about before, and it's always a good reminder. Look, if you've never meditated before, you don't got to shave your head and wear an orange robe and go sit in the woods for 3 hours.
You probably don't need a meditation room
You don't need a meditation room.
if you've
You,
never. Yeah.
you don't need all those things. You can just sit on your couch. You can sit in your recliner. You can even just sit in your bed. Dang it.
Yeah,
Start somewhere. And that's kind of the theme over these last few episodes. Start with one thing
exactly.
and
Yep.
keep stacking those wins. If you've never meditated before, go meditate every day for 1 minute because anybody can do that. I guarantee it. Anybody can do 1 minute. And then you do that for a week or two. And then you do 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Same with working out.
So, what are some other things that you have stacked? So, your supplements are by your coffee maker. My supplements are across the kitchen from my coffee maker because I don't like taking them in the morning because it gives me an upset tummy. But I like taking them later with food. So, it's right by where I cook.
Yep.
And then my fail safe plan is that's also the set of light switches that I shut off at the very end of the day. So if
Mm.
I forgot to take them, you know, while I was cooking dinner or whatever, they're right there staring at me when I go to turn the lights out, and so I'll take them then. Um, that's one of the things. So it's just right by where I cook. So at
Yeah.
some point, I'm going to cook, hopefully that day, and take them. Um, what are some other ones that you do? So we talked about morning routine. What about after that?
Well, I also have a backup plan, Jacqueline. So I keep a lot of things in my office at work. So I keep some athletic greens, like a supplement at the
Mhm.
office. So
Mhm.
if I forget something, oh shoot, it's 10 o'clock, and well, I have it at the office too. So having a backup plan, having a second kit of things is a good thing.
Mhm.
Keep it at the places where if you did forget in the morning, okay, no problem. You got it at the office or wherever you may be out on the road. keeping water bottles in your car, keeping some healthy snacks in your car, whatever that might look like for you, so that when you get hungry out on the road, you have something that you can eat that's going to fit in alignment with your nutrition goals, and not having to go, oh my gosh, I just went on 3 appointments. I am starving. Let me pull over at the gas station and get whatever's available.
Mm-hmm.
So being intentional about what you keep with you. But I think a lot of those things take place in the morning, Jacqueline. For example, when I grab my pen and I go to journal, well, I write down 10 things that I'm thankful for. So I've checked off the gratitude box. Usually when I do that, I think of something that makes me laugh. So I check the laugh box. I journaled, so it checks that. I've meditated, so it's checking that.
Yep.
And then I go out to my gym, and whatever form of movement that I'm doing, well, I have this really massive vision board up there. So I'm staring at my goals, or they're staring at me. So I'm getting a reminder of my goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as long as we're finding the things that we are already doing and adding those other things in that line of sight, it just makes things so much easier. And that to me is habit stacking, right?
Yep, exactly. So some other things that, even in business that we do as a team is we go to the office in the morning. And that morning connection, that morning meeting, right? We do our most important priority right after that meeting. So you can use this in business too, to make sure that you're getting your priorities in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for the 15-point plan, whatever habit you're working on, so we asked you to pick 1 or 2 things that you wanted to add in that you don't get consistently. So like, I think of things like a lot of people have said they have a hard time getting the service point because they think the service has to be, when a volunteer day, or, I'm going to build a house for Habitat of Humanity or some big thing, and it's like, no, it can be as simple as if you have gratitude for someone, to actually share that with them. We have a gal on our team, Margie. She's phenomenal at expressing her gratitude through handwritten note cards. And I got into the office yesterday and had a really nice handwritten note card. So she could check her service point for that.
Yeah.
I send, a text message or a Facebook, or Instagram, whatever. I try to share my gratitude when I sense it for people or feel it for people and think it, I try and share it. That, everyone, is getting your service point. Same with, just sharing a simple compliment. So, maybe when you get home every day, before you go to sleep, maybe you share a gratitude for someone and you send them a message.
I think that's such a great point. It's so easy to overlook that service box or overthink it.
Mm-hmm.
And small things like a handwritten note. I love getting a handwritten note. It doesn't happen super often, but it shows somebody cares about me. It shows somebody was thinking about me. And when somebody is thinking about me, I feel good. So little things like that. One of the things I always loved about my father, who passed away many years ago, every time he would leave a room, people would smile a little bit more. And that's one thing I took from him. And that's my act of service sometimes, is just spending maybe an extra 30 seconds with somebody and making them smile.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them a smile, giving them the gift of a smile. That to me is a major act of service. There's so much going on in the world, and there's so many things that it's very easy to find yourself in maybe not the most positive state. So just having a conversation with somebody, telling them, hey, like what you did was really cool, and thank you, and I appreciate you. Sharing that, whether it's verbally or a text message or a note or sending them a picture, that is a really, really cool act of service. And I'm glad we brought that up, because it's just a good reminder. It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jacqueline.
Yeah. And how you can stack it is maybe you make a rule or have a standard for yourself where it's like, okay, the first thing I do when I get to the office is I write a note card to someone at the office, or I don't leave the office. I think it's really powerful. Imagine how you'd feel if you started every single day writing a note card to someone, and then how that could impact their start to their day. But also how you finish your day before you go home to your family is writing a note card. Maybe it's to someone in your family, you bring it home, but you don't leave the office without writing the note card. And so that's how you would have it stack. Some people, if you're working on movement, well, what can you stack that with? Like, do you love hanging out like I do? I love having just hangout time with my husband where we just talk and catch up for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can do that while going on a walk,
That's
which
right.
we do a lot of right now. So how can you weave in these new habits that you're wanting to build into things that you already do consistently?
By the way, Jacqueline, I got to give you a ton of credit because you say, oh, just so casually feeling I go for a walk. You're putting a freaking headlamp on and a raincoat on because it is dark and stormy and nasty right now in the
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, and you're doing 75 hard, and it's a non negotiable. You have to go for that walk.
Yeah.
So, like, nice work doing that. It's not just as simple as, oh, we go for a walk. Like, you're gearing up, you're putting a freaking headlamp on. That is impressive. So, thank you for inspiring us to do that. And another way, maybe this isn't habit stacking, but what I just wrote down in my notes is, how can I remember to do that every day? Well, what if you just set an alarm on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you get off work at 5 p.m. What if you set an alarm on your phone every day for 4:45 to write a quick letter, to give somebody in your office or your workplace words of encouragement? So I think I have 4 or 5 alarms on my phone that go off throughout the day. Those are just reminders. So either on your calendar or just that quick little alarm that says, hey, deliver a smile.
Yeah.
That might be one way to get that into your life a little bit more often. So use those tips and tools, stack those habits, remove the dang cookies and the things that you don't want in your life. Just keep them away. And then when you have earned the cookie or you've earned the donut or you really intentionally want that sweet treat, because let's be real, we should all have a sweet treat every once in a while, then do it intentionally, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and let us know what habits you're stacking, what you're working on right now, so we can cheer you on. You can find us on Facebook in our 15-point plan Facebook group, and you can find either one of us on Instagram, Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Greigg. We love hearing from you. Share this episode and share the podcast with someone that you love, someone that could use more energy, less stress, and joy in their life, and help us grow our community. And we appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening as always. And thank you, Jacqueline, for inspiring me to just continue to get better myself. Until next time, everyone, take care.